So last week we touched upon a few details about Finland, and the importance is geopolitical, right? So we have the presidential elections happening in Finland by Feb 11th. I think we will have a new president. So in Finland, the system is a little different. You have a general election every 6 years where all citizens or the Finnish people can elect a president for a 6 year term. So, we've already gone through a couple of facts about Finland, that is, how they came about to join the NATO when they formally joined NATO. And capital of Finland is Helsinki, and how that name comes from Helsingfors, Helsingfors, which is the Swedish name for Helsinki. Plus, we looked at their currency, which is currently euro. So, the political situation in Finland will change the course of world politics very soon. If you recall how World War II began, we had what is known as the Winter War. The Winter War took place between Finland and Russia in the year 1939, and the war lasted for about a year. Now, because the terrain was difficult and the Russians didn't have knowledge of the terrain, and because it was winter, a punishing winter, the Russian army, those days the Soviet Union, lost. And it was a moral victory for Finland, because though they were a smaller army, they won against. It was a typical David Goliath situation, right? So after this win against the Soviet Union, Finland had to find a protector nation, and they sided with Nazi Germany in order to be protected from Russia. Present day, what we will see unfolding between Finland, Russia, Ukraine, and the NATO is something that geopolitical analysts are already drawing up their charts on. Okay, for one, there is the general election for the president in the United States of America in November, and by 20th of January 2025, we will have a new president, and it's probably going to be Donald Trump. Okay, the indications are all there. And then in Finland, in about a month's time, we will know if it's going to be Stubbs, who is the most hopeful of winning the presidential election. Similarly, in India, we are going to have the general elections in April, May, and by June, we'll have a stable government in New Delhi led by incumbent Prime Minister. So, we will have the third reign of Narendra Modi in this country. So, what that indicates is we are going to have the same set of leaders that were present in the year 2020 during COVID, right? And that time round, Donald Trump was very clear on two things. One, that the wall must come up, because we are seeing a migrant crisis happening in the southern state of Texas. And the second thing he stressed on was not to support NATO anymore. So, one thing guaranteed of Mr. Trump coming back to power is United States might reduce their influence in NATO. Okay, it's the oldest military alliance that the United States has, right? It began after the World War II, and this NATO is the main reason why Europe acts as the single union, right? As an European Union. So, if we have that happen, if we have United States pull out of NATO, what's going to happen is the war will spread away from Ukraine, and it will move towards Estonia and Finland. Okay, and as soon as war is at Finland's border, NATO will have to react. So we can kind of predict that this presidential election in Finland has to bring in a very decisive leader. Given all that, right, the most important thing is the leadership has to be strong. In India, in China, in Russia, and in the United States with Trump, in the year 2025, you're going to have strong leaders. But what about Finland, right? So, this current presidential election coming up in a couple of days, Feb 11th, I believe, is crucial to bringing a decisive man to that position. Because in Finland, it is the president who has the control of two major portfolios. One is defense and the other is external affairs. I hope you've learned something new today. Thank you, and please subscribe to this channel.